Hello, I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for watching. This is the World Healthcare Congress coming to you from Washington, D.C., and a very warm welcome to those of you joining us virtually. I have in the studio right now Dr. Jerry Hausfeld. He's with the Society of Physician Entrepreneurs. Jeffrey, sorry. I'm trying to rename you, Dr. Hausfeld. He is with the Society of Physician Entrepreneurs. And we also call you Dr. H, don't we?
Yes, we do.
How did the society come about? It's about 9 years old right now?
Correct. Mm-hmm. So it came about, myself and two other otolaryngologists, ear, nose, and throat surgeons, had a penchant for business. Mm-hmm. And we recognized the fact that other peers really had no clue. So we started teaching residents and other young physicians about the roadmap of innovation, how to bring an idea from their head to a patient. And we gave lectures at 7 a.m. at the Academy meeting for otolaryngologists. We soon found out that we had 150 people at a morning breakfast meeting. And we said to each other, gee, I guess this is something that people really want to learn about. So then we took it outside of the Academy, and now we have a global network of 28,000 LinkedIn members and 30 chapters throughout the world.
Wow, that is a lot in 9 years, which
Correct.
is kind of a long time, but I mean that you've had tremendous growth. How are entrepreneurs playing a big part in the disruption of healthcare?
When you look at what happens in healthcare, there aren't very many things that really change the course and bend the needle. But there are certain breakthroughs that do occur, and most of those breakthroughs happen from providers. Whether in academics or in private practice, we are the people that understand unmet need. Mm-hmm. We know what our patients need, mm-hmm. and we know what we have in our toolbox. Mm-hmm. Right. So if we can apply that concept of, I know what's out there, I know what's in my toolkit, I know what I need to help my patients, it really is a boost to innovation, whether it comes from the physician or the healthcare provider themselves, or it comes from outside. That perspective really allows that innovation to flourish.
Now, what is the first step if you are a practicing physician and you see something you believe would really help? Mm-hmm. It's in your brain, your mind, you're trying to bring it out. What do they do?
Well, the first thing you really have to do is make sure that you are fulfilling an unmet need, and make sure that your innovation is faster, cheaper, safer, and better than the one that's currently available. Because if it's not, you have to think of something else. Mm-hmm. So it really is a matter of doing some diligence in understanding what is the market, what is out there, and can my idea really come to fruition, at what cost, through what regulatory pathways, through what legal pathways, and what is my potential market. Mm-hmm.
Lots of physicians aren't great at both. I mean, they're terrific at medicine, but don't do a lot in business. So
that's correct.
What's your advice to them?
Is to have a better understanding of the science of business. So I practiced otolaryngology and facial plastic surgery for about 25 years, did my training at Yale, then came down to Washington, D.C., and then went back and got an M.B.A. at Hopkins, followed by a degree in organizational development at George Washington. So I really had to go back and learn the science of business in order to respect the science of business, just as I respect the science of medicine.
Do physicians respect the science of business ordinarily?
No, they don't. And that's a flaw, and that's something that we try to teach all the time, because without it, you can't sit at the table. And you really can't understand how to scale your project from helping one patient to helping tens of thousands of patients.
And because physicians ordinarily aren't that comfortable in business, is that what is making the disruption of healthcare so difficult right now?
There are many things that really make it difficult. So if we have to put it into three major buckets, it's regulatory, legal, and finances. Anything that we do, most of the things that we do, whether it's a device, a health IT application, a diagnostic, a biopharmaceutical, has to go through some regulatory guidelines in order to be approved by the FDA. That is a major hurdle and very costly. So that's one thing that we really focus on as entrepreneurs and as investors to see whether or not that particular innovation can make it through that first hurdle. Then there's the legal aspect. We live in a very litigious society. So one of the positions that I hold is I'm the chairman and chief medical officer of a biotech company called F.A.C.S. We specialize in producing biosimilars. Biosimilars are generic versions of very complex biologic drugs. You've heard of them, Humira, Enbrel, Remicade, great drugs that help a variety of conditions, but can cost between $200,000 to $600,000 per year per patient. And now that they're coming off patent, we have the ability to make those same drugs in a generic version. But there are legal battles in order to get that accomplished. The people who have the original patents on these drugs, the large pharmaceutical companies, continually put on new patents for these drugs in order to stop biosimilars coming to market. So there's a huge cost involved that really hampers that innovation from being able to come to market, which would reduce healthcare costs and increase accessibility to great drugs. And the third is financial, and finances are a big issue and a big hurdle in bringing an innovation to market. Whether you have to go to friends and family for your initial round of seed funding, to angel investors for your Series A or first round of funding, to venture capital or private equity groups for that third and fourth round of funding, it is a daunting task and something that physicians are not comfortable with or used to. But the good thing is that they're trainable.
Yeah, okay, that's good news, because I was going to ask if physicians should medical students be also advised to take business classes?
Absolutely.
If they can. And they don't now.
No, they don't, because there's a tsunami of knowledge that they have to absorb in just taking care of patients. But there's a small cadre of medical students that we have as members of SoPE that do have a penchant for business and are learning the science of business and the business side of medicine.
What other bit of advice do you want to leave with our viewers?
I think the most important thing is that you're trying to mesh two cultures. You're trying to mesh the culture of medicine and taking care of patients with the culture of business. So I wrote down a few things that I'll share with you. In business, it's persuasion and ambiguity. In medicine, especially in surgery, it's command and control. I'm the captain of the ship. I have to control things. In business, it's being the boss. In medicine, it's having amicable relations with your peers. In business, it's protect and patent your innovations. In medicine, it's publish or perish, especially in academia. And the ethics of the two are at odds with each other. In business, it's about making a profit. In medicine, it's about doing no harm. So we have to be able to mesh those two cultures. And when we look and find out why is it that physicians don't succeed in medicine, in the business of medicine, it's because sometimes they are micromanagers. Many times they're viewed as being arrogant. And most of the times they just don't have a high emotional intelligence quotient. So what I try to teach them is to create an environment where bees can make honey. Create an executive temperament where the people around you are empowered and nurtured to do great things, and your company will succeed.
Well, thank you, Dr. H. That was very, very informative. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
And I'm Mabel Jong. Thanks for tuning in. Stay with us.